What is up, Hexinators and Pulsinators? I want to address, is Pulsechain a scam? There's a big mainstream news article about this. But first off, guys, October is the worst month for crypto hacks. This is a little bit old. It says 2 weeks to go. It is Halloween, so happy Halloween. Keep in mind, guys, if you don't keep your crypto on some cold storage wallet, whether that's a Ledger or a Trezor, this should be a reminder. Crypto hacks only increase, and you want to have a cold storage wallet. Okay, there's tons of guides on how to do that. But what I recommend is a ledger. And when you buy these ledgers, make sure you get it from the website itself, because on Amazon, people can sell products themselves and you could get a scammed ledger. So if you guys do want a ledger and you don't have one, there's a link in the video description below. Go check out their products. But with October being the worst month for crypto hacks, I would hate to see any of the community members get hacked. So just a quick reminder, get yourself a ledger if you don't have one. Forbes Digital Assets came out with this one, right? Not just any average person, this is Forbes. The next Terra Luna ? A major 5 billion crypto could be about to self-destruct, potentially hitting the price of Ethereum. Guys, at the end of this video, I have a great clip from Richard Hart talking about Pulsechain and basically why billions of dollars are going to flow into the ecosystem. There's a term called Metcalfe's Law. It came out of the telecommunications boom decades ago. The value of a network is proportional to the square of its users, meaning the more users you get, the more value your network has exponentially, right? Exponentially, if you aren't a math person, means the gains increase faster and faster and faster the more users you get. A linear gain would mean that the network would just get the same amount of value added from each user. No. In telecommunications and in cryptocurrencies, the more users, you have even more value. Each extra user you get, even more valuable. It's kind of hard to describe exponential gain in words. I'm an ex-algebra teacher. I taught exponential gain, but just listening to myself talk right now, it is kind of difficult. Now, after one of Wall Street's most influential executives has warned of growing market panic, another controversial, can't disagree with that. Hex is controversial, that's a fact. Has a market cap of $5 billion, is facing claims it's about to implode after seeing its price crash 90% from all-time highs. No crypto has ever done that, right? 90% crash must mean a rug pull. I mean, guys, just look at the chart. Are you guys seriously buying this token? If you're seriously buying this token, I can't save you guys from yourself. It looks like it's going to zero. I'm just kidding, of course, right? Bitcoin dumped 95% multiple times. Ethereum dumped 95% multiple times. But when something dumps 90%, what happens? Do people get excited and think, oh, it's a 90% sale. I can buy what I bought at the top for 10% of the price and make an easy 10x when we go to all-time highs. Is that how people think? No. That's how smart money thinks. Most of crypto is dumb money. No offense, it's just how these markets work. It's a lot of just retail newbies. And there's nothing wrong with being that. To be smart money investors takes a lot of time and research and working on your own skill set. But when these crashes do happen, smart money identifies, oh, this is a sale. Now, if you don't have a lot of faith in the token, it's a lot easier to be scared, right? You bought Hex at 50 cents. Man, I had friends who I got to buy Hex at 30 cents, right? I feel kind of bad about that now, but I also tell them I haven't lost any faith in the project, and this is a good opportunity to bring your dollar cost average down. Moving forward, Hex launched in late 2019. Everyone said it was a scam on top of the Ethereum blockchain. It's seen its price grow rapidly over the last 2 years. Currently, guys, if you bought Hex early on, and I'm not one of these people, it'd be nice to say I was, these guys that bought Hex in the early days are still up 500, 600, 700x before staking, right? So people think if you bought at the top, it is kind of hard right now. I feel for you. But keep in mind, a lot of these bag holders, these people that bought early, these guys are whales, right? These guys are still up heavy. And they aren't looking, a lot of them are already taking profits. They're not looking to sell right now. People have been selling, right? For almost a whole year. How much more selling can occur? A lot of these guys have taken profits and they're probably looking at 4 penny Hex and thinking, wow, what a great deal. Richard Hart, his creator and an outspoken defender of crypto, has meanwhile faced accusations that he sold off the Bitcoin and Ethereum investors used to buy Hex at launch and drained the addresses used to collect Hex fees. And even if he did, that's his prerogative. There's no expectations. What it doesn't address here is the origin address. The origin address, the person that created Hex, not necessarily Richard Hart, right? But a lot of people associate the origin address. It has 70%, it could have more than that, of the entire Hex supply. And notice how here they don't talk about that origin address at all, right? The origin address has billions and billions and billions of dollars of Hex. And on chain, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no record of them selling Hex. So this kind of paints Richard Hart as, oh, he's selling off this Bitcoin and Ethereum investors gave him. It might be a little bit more clear to also include the tens of billions of dollars that we gave Richard Hart in these sacrifice phases that he didn't dump, right? They're painting this picture that this guy's rug pulling users when he got billions of dollars in tokens and he didn't drop those. Why? You know why? Furthermore, people say, oh, Pulsechain's a scam, bro. It's been a year and a half. Why do you think Richard would do all these interviews? Why would he keep talking about Pulsechain? The man is a multi-billionaire. If his prerogative was a rug pull, why keep doing interviews? Why keep talking about it? If anything, that creates a liability from these regulatory institutions for Richard Hart if he is scamming. So it's just like people that are new to the ecosystem, people that you might have onboarded into Pulsechain, like, hey man, Pulsechain's a great opportunity. Those people are hurting right now. But if you were one of the people that onboarded these users, and some of my friends that I have gotten into Pulsechain might be listening to this right now. If you are, text me. Let me know you heard this. My faith hasn't changed at all. And I understand if you haven't spent the time watching Richard Hart videos, if you haven't been in Hex for a year or two, your faith might be a little bit less. You might see Richard Hart flexing in his personality, and you're losing even more faith. But if you have that research and you've spent that time around Richard and you really have the faith in the projects, some would say, oh, you're dumb and ignorant. But personally, my faith hasn't wavered at all. I personally think Richard's just waiting for the bottom because the man talks all the time about how he calls the top. Talks all the time about how he calls the bottom, right? The man is passionate about his price charts and he doesn't want to launch when he thinks it could dump. Just my opinion. Since hitting all-time highs, Hex prices dropped by 90%. Falling harder than Bitcoin and Ethereum. True, we fell more than Bitcoin and Ethereum, but here's a misleading statement once again. Why don't you include that Hex pumped way more than Bitcoin and Ethereum, which allows us to dump more? We have wiped out less gains in the past year than Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? That's a much better metric to look at. Yes, Hex dumped more, but investors also made a boatload more. Misleading statements. This week, following a YouTube interview in which Richard Hart spoke about the plans for the long-awaited Pulsechain, one longtime Hex critic has warmed up that it could be self-destructing as holders lose patience. Announced last year, Pulsechain is a fork of Ethereum that would transition a proof-of-stake consensus mechanism before Ethereum itself. Unfortunately, Pulsechain did not do it before Ethereum itself, but I don't think that matters. If you guys look at the fees on Ethereum, they're still pretty high. In the crypto project XEN, Zen, is the Zen token. If you don't know what that is, basically it was created this month and it has caused the Ethereum gas fees to just be really high. And it just goes to show people thought when Ethereum would transition to proof of stake that the gas fees, the transaction fees, the cost to just use the network would go down, and they haven't. So Pulsechain, there's still product market fit for it. People are just losing patience, right? As of June, around 45% of Hex in circulation has been put into the sacrifice wallets that Richard Hart probably controls, but no one really knows. The launch has been repeatedly delayed, with some beginning to question if it will ever launch. Something important to add here, Richard has said every time that he has given a date estimate, and guys, I'm frustrated too. I want my Pulsechain, I want my money, I want to start staking my PulseX. It's gonna be so exciting when it comes out. But while I'm losing patience, I'm not losing faith. He's also said every time he's done a date estimate, a launch estimate, he's also said what? He said software is hard, and this date estimate basically doesn't mean shit, right? But people want to know dates, so he's like, okay, I'll say a date. Imagine Pulsechain launches, there's an inflation bug, someone mints billions of Pulsechain, project's dead. This is what you guys who are impatient aren't realizing. You don't want to have a product that has flaws. That's going to ruin the product from the beginning. Look at Terra Luna, absolutely ruined, right? They're trying to do Luna Classic now, but the whole ethos and reputation of that project is ruined. So I don't think waiting longer. Now, if it's 2025 and Pulsechain isn't out, buddy, we lost our money. But at this time, I don't think it's a bad time to be waiting. This market is not a market that you want to launch in right now. There's too many thunderstorms going on. Apparently, Pulsechain is not happening. Bitcoin investor Mike Alfred posted to Twitter along screenshots from Hex holders who fear Pulsechain will be nothing more than a copy of Ethereum, now a proof-of-stake blockchain following its upgrade. Several Hex holders have reached out to inform me that the Hex community is self-destructing right now. Ivan on Tech said he wouldn't commit to the Pulsechain launch timetable, saying it's done when it's done. And that's how we all should be. Pulsechain will be done when it's done. There's no point in fudding and acting like it's not coming out. Just think about it rationally. If this multi-billionaire just wanted your money and scammed you, why would he continue to talk about this scam a year and a half later, increasing liability, increasing FBI eyes, IRS, SEC, regulatory bodies? They're more likely to look at it the more you talk about it. If it was a scam, this guy would have... Richard knows how to disappear. This guy's a very high IQ individual. He would have disappeared, and he could easily do that. But he cares about his legacy, and he doesn't want to be known as a scammer and make everyone that's called him a scammer, everyone for the past 3-5 years that's called this guy a scammer. And you see how much that irritates Richard Hart. I don't know what Richard Hart hates more than being poor. It might be being called a scammer. That might be the biggest thing he hates. Because for a man who's driven on legacy, one of the worst things you could be called is a scammer, right? So if it was a scam, why would he be around still? We're going to use the same consensus mechanism that ETH 2.0 uses. I want to get Pulsechain to market. Even if we get to market without massaging Ethereum's block timing and gas, I would just go straight copy and fix it later. Free coins and cheaper enough. Faster is great if you have it, but it's not mandatory. So Richard says he's going to launch it as soon as he can. I think he might just be waiting for the market bottom. You guys let me know what you think. And if you guys enjoy this content, hit the like button. It's free and I really do appreciate it. It helps the content a lot. And yeah, happy Halloween. People have pointed out that they found a lot of troubling things in this interview. Alfred says of Hart's conversation with, this is Ivan on Tech right here. The implication is that all the work from the last year has been scrapped. However, Alfred doesn't expect the eventual collapse of Hex to result in a Terra Luna style implosion. It's just not possible, right? Terra Luna had a design flaw where someone with hundreds of millions could ruin it. And Hex does have low liquidity, so someone with hundreds of millions could send Hex to zero. But imagine the amount of buy orders that would come in. It's just not the same. Hex is not tied into the rest of the ecosystem. It's almost like it's a parallel economy. Also, it will fail in slow motion due to the way the protocol incentivizes token lockups. Okay, so let's look at that. He's saying Hex will fail in slow motion, right? It's been 3 years now, right? So how slow is it going to be? Crypto's only 10 years old, buddy. It's going to fail because of token lockups. Guys, do you know that over Hex's lifetime of 3 years, the average time stake has gone up? You know, the average stake in Hex used to be 3 years, and then it was 4 years, and then the average stake was 5 years. And you guys know, if you know averages, if you're a math person, for an average, 1 in 15 years, right? 15 years is the longest you can stake Hex. The average stake now is 7.6, right? Almost the median of that 1 to 15 years. For the average to be 7.6, a lot of people got to be staking for 15 years. Because I know for a fact, a lot of people stake Hex short term. A lot of people stake Hex for under a year. The average is 7.6 years. So there are a ton of people staking for 10, 15 years. When you have people with locked up money for 10 to 15 years, that is basically proof of community, POC. You are locking in your community for the long run, right? Despite Hex's 90% crash, we have more Hex YouTubers popping up every few months, right? More people in the Pulsechain chat group, Hex trading super active. I don't think this is a bad thing at all. If you guys are still watching, comment mayonnaise sandwich below. Back when I was in the trenches growing up, you know, mayonnaise sandwiches. And if you're watching now and you're still listening, you gave me 15 minutes of your day. So I greatly appreciate that. Comment mayonnaise sandwich below. God bless you all. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. Subscribe if you're new. Until next time.